Oops. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I had to grab something real quick that I forgot after I hit the go live button. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a great evening. Welcome to the Q&A. And sorry, I just blew out a candle. Let me move that a little bit. Okay. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a good night. Just going to update you on a few things real quick. This is just kind of personal information that I'm just going to share because I want to try to make this one a quick Q&A because I had to take some Benadryl. So lately, probably since midsummer, I've been spontaneously breaking out in hives. Like, thankfully, they're not on my face, but on my chest, on my back. I mean, just for no reason whatsoever. I'm not allergic to anything that I know of anyway. And it's just so weird. So, of course, I'm a nurse. I've been doing some research on it. And apparently it's a thing. You can just have spontaneous hives. And they only last usually maybe 30 minutes or so, and then they go away. But today they were really bad. And I was itching so bad. So I took some Benadryl. So I'm like, oh, a little sleepy. I'm going to have to get some kind of Claritin or something like that. I've never had allergies before in my life. So this is kind of new to me. Anyway, yes, cooking with Rick, I'm sure it's not my laundry detergent. I did try switching it out, but I've been using the same laundry detergent forever, but it's just weird. Anyway, I'm going to get back and say hi to everybody. I promise. But I also just wanted to share something that I'm working on. And I thought, I hope it's cool enough for me to even try it. So have you guys ever had like spiced tea? It's one of my husband's favorite things, but it's usually made with tang and a lot of sugar, like a whole bunch of sugar. So I decided to buy like the all natural ingredients that I could find on Amazon, like orange powder, lemon powder, a decaffeinated, no sugar added at all tea. So not even a sweetener, an artificial sweetener. And I made my own spiced tea. And I don't know what it's going to taste like, but this is what I want to do with it. This is my thought. I got these little containers. So funny. I'll tell you why this came about anyway. So I got these little containers. Obviously, I just made a test batch, so it's really just a small amount. But these little cute containers, and then these little cute spoons that I thought I could tie on with, some kind of a ribbon or a cord. You know what I mean? And then I dehydrated these orange slices, and I just thought these are going to make such cute little gifts for people. I don't know if you can see. Hopefully, you can see. And just tie that on. I think it's going to be so cute. But the big thing is the tea going to taste good? So I'm going to taste a little bit right now. I think it's still kind of hot. So that's kind of bland. I'm going to have to go back to the recipe, I think, on this one. It's a little bland. So I would probably have to add more than a tablespoon of this stuff in. Let's see. Oh, that was a lot. Anyway, all right, let me stir this in and we will let it cool down a little bit. And those are my two stories that I have for you today. So let me go back in and say hi to some people. John, I'm feeling fine. Thanks for asking. I mean, I'm just tired now because I took Benadryl. Of course, earlier today, I wanted to itch my skin off. It was just, so weird. All right. Hi, Larry. How are you? Thanks for visiting. Hi, Juliet. How are you? Hi, Bob. How are you? Hi, Jeff and Rhonda. How are you? Hi, Debbie. John. Hi, how are you? I did make you a moderator. So I don't know if you got a notification, but when I saw you pop up, I hit the 3 dots and made you a moderator. So if anybody's acting up on YouTube, you just give them the boot. Okay. Hi, Cooking with Rick. How are you? Hey, Linda. Hi, Craig. Let's see. Now I'm not seeing anybody coming. Oh, there are some people from Facebook. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure that we are getting that feed coming in. Hi, Mama C. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Denise. Hi, JJ Roby. How are you? Hi, Mr. Bear. Hi, Annie. Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Hives are the worst. Yeah, it's weird. I've never had hives before in my life. So, well, maybe once years and years ago, but there was a reason for them. I forget what it was now, but Carrie, yes, I'm a nurse. I was a nurse for 28 years and retired 4 years ago and then got into this. Hi, Nancy. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving coming up, right? What is that? Is it the 8th? I'm not sure. Hey, honey. Hey, Jeff. How are you? Hi, Shoshana. Sorry about that. I know I just messed that up. Sorry about that. Um, Colleen, yeah, I was wondering whether or not it was from stress. But I didn't have like it stopped for like a couple weeks and then came back, but I don't feel like I'm stressed any more than normal. So I'm not really sure. Hi, Raven. How are you? Hi, Rob. Hi, Annie. I think I already said that, but I'll say it again. Hey, newbie Nicole. How are you? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you weren't feeling well. Thank you, Mannion. I appreciate that. Hi, Tim. And Tim says, found out the hard way. The older you get, the more allergies you get. Yes, I know. Yeah, I'm in my 50s too. Yeah, I know. It's like going to be one thing after another, right? Although I'm pretty healthy, although I'm overweight, obviously, but I'm fairly healthy. I'm not on any medication or anything. So anyway, hi Carmen, hi Kathy, hi Terry. How are you? Um, Hi Philippa. How are you? I hope I said that correctly. Hi Linda. Okay, let's see. This is what we're here for. We're here for a Q&A. So welcome. I spent a few minutes, of course, saying hi to people. And today I decided to give you guys an update. But really, let's delve into the Q&A. So Linda, I made green stuffed peppers with the new smart lid PC. Your instructions was on the older model. My problem was steaming the peppers. I had made them on the old one last year, came out perfect. On the smart lid, there must be a part two. I can almost probably guess that they were not cooked. They were undercooked. And that's one of those things I'm trying to figure out whether or not what recipes are going to need to be altered if you're doing them with the one lid versus the two lid, because there are slight differences in certain recipes, not all of them though. Like my pressure cooker recipes and stuff seem to work fine either way. But steaming, I think there's more evaporation. I know there's more evaporation going on in the one lid because the lid is vented, right? So it's all going out the lid. Whereas on the older models, you have the pressure lid that you use and you just have it coming out of one vent. In fact, I have a recipe coming out and I believe it's tomorrow if I write the post. I'm so behind. Tomorrow for steam and crisp asparagus, and we will be doing. I'm doing a comparison with steaming in the older model and steam crisp in the newer one lid model. I'm not doing the same recipe in both of them because I wanted to show people how to steam just for like if you wanted asparagus, for like a snappy asparagus for a salad or something like that. And then I wanted the steam and crisp because that's how I really like to serve them if I'm using a side dish. But the steam times are different. I mean, the timing is different. So I think that's the issue. And I don't know if you used just steam or if you used steam and crisp. Probably just steam though, because we've got the rice and stuff in the bottom. I'll look for part two, but I can almost bet you I answered the question already because I'm sure that's the issue that you had. But I could be wrong. Hi, Verna. How are you? Hi, Dorothy. How are you? Hi, Barbara. Hi, Linda. Hi, Karen. No, cooking with Rick. I'm not on any prescription medication. I just took over the counter Benadryl and I'm not on any medication. Hi, JR. How are you? All the way from the Netherlands. Oh my gosh. Hey, Kelly from rainy Maryland. Where are you in Maryland? I grew up in Maryland. I lived there until 4 years. Well, yeah, 4 years ago, I think, when we moved to Tennessee. Hi, Simon from Dublin. How are you? Hi, it's me, Angela D. I like saying that. That's fun. um, Hi, Candace. How are you? Yes, it could be. It could be a spontaneous allergy. Sure, sure, it could be. But I'm thinking it's just one of those things that just happens to people. Hello, John. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Jessica. All right, let's get into some questions. Oh my gosh, somebody Angela, oh my gosh. I don't know how to put that up on the screen. I don't think it gives me a choice, but thank you so much. Angela sent me $20. Thank you so much. And she said, Louise, you are such an inspiration. Your videos make me step out of my comfort zone and try new things. So thank you for sharing your recipes. And best of all, walking a step by step through them. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. You have no idea. Like, I'm in tears because that's all I want is to have people cook, step out of their comfort zone a little bit, make wonderful meals for their family, and be really proud of themselves for what they accomplish in the kitchen. Because I know it can be scary sometimes, especially if never cooked or never learned or never wanted to or don't like it. So anyway, um, Victoria, yeah, my hands are itchy too. It drives me crazy. Not right now, and not earlier today, not when the hives came, but they have been itchy. Yeah, it's so weird. Like I've been waiting for the money to come in. Isn't that what they say? Itchy hands and you're going to come into some money. Well, I just did. I just did. It's me, Angela D. I just came into some money. There we go. Now the hands can stop itching, hopefully. All right. Oh, Nancy, your Thanksgiving's on the 10th. Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, so Monday. Okay, I see Monday. Yeah. Okay, Craig and Nancy are saying the same thing. Monday, the 10th is the official day, but people celebrate it on the weekend. All right. Annie, I'm good. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to do some Zyrtec, I think. Let's see. Cooking with Rick. I live in Tennessee. Let's see. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Manion says I did your slow cooker chicken stew and it was delicious. Comfort food. Yes. And I have chicken and noodles coming out soon, and that's another really good one. Barbara, no, I haven't taken any of that stuff. Well, you know what? No, not in a long time, though. I was going to say I did take some naproxen, but it was a long time ago when I had a backache. Okay, so here we go. Turned out great. Didn't cook the peppers. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay. Linda, do me a favor because this is going to require a lot of back and forth, I think, between us, but I really want to delve into this deeper with you because I want to update my recipe. Okay, so that people won't run into this problem again because I know it's frustrating. And of course, when I wrote the recipes, I had no idea they were coming out with a new version, right? So, you can just steam. It's all the way on the right. Okay, so you modified them. Okay. All right, so this is a little bit different. I'm getting it now. I got the picture. I'm a little slow today, but I got the picture. So you modified the recipe to do steam and bake because you didn't see how you could just do steam. Okay, doing steam on the new smart lid, you're going to have your slider all the way over to the right, okay, where you would choose air fry, and you just dial the knob until you see steam, okay, and you can do steam, just plain steam. And that's what I would recommend for that recipe because steam and bake didn't give you long enough steam time to probably cook the rice and the peppers. So yeah, that's exactly what I would do. So I was wrong. You didn't have the problem I thought you were going to have. But now I'm going to have to probably try to do the steamed pepper recipe in my smart lid one so I can see if there's any changes because there might be. But anyway, if you need more help with that, Linda, because I think that's all it is. You just have to choose the right function. But if you need more help with that, certainly email me and I can send you a little video of how to do it. I have no problems doing that. All right, let's see. Karen, I just made your pulled pork and had trouble with getting a portion of the meat tender. I put the tough part back in for 15 more minutes of pressure cooking, but to no avail. Do you think it was just a bad cut of meat? Never had any issues with slow cooking, but I love the rub and frying it for some crispy skin. I'm not sure, Karen. I mean, that's a good question. I guess I would need a little bit more information. Like, was it near the bone? Because I had that happen too with one pulled pork that I did, and then other ones I didn't have that issue. Maybe 15 minutes was not enough. So maybe the shape of yours was a little bit different than mine, and so or bigger maybe or something. So the timing wasn't quite enough. That could be. But you did the right thing by throwing it back in. But I'm surprised it didn't tenderize it. I mean, it should. Now, I'm sure this is past already, but if you still have it, you still need it, I would throw it back in. I would throw it back in for 30 more minutes because I really don't think it's going to be the cut. I mean, there are some like cuts of, well, not really just cuts of chicken, but like chicken breast, let's say. You can get a chicken breast that's absolutely delicious and get it from the same store, the same brand, the same everything, and it's tough, and that's just a variable within the chicken itself. So, but with the pork shoulder, I have not encountered a whole lot of variables like that with the meat itself. So I think it's just cooking, probably just needed to cook longer. Oh, John says, I got my stuffed hamburger mold from PC, but now to find ground beef that's affordable. Oh my gosh, I know. Who are you telling? It is crazy. So I used to blend my own ground beef, but even the cuts of beef that I used to ground my own were so expensive that it was still coming out to be as much or more. I mean, it's a little better, but it still is very expensive. So I'm gonna have to try with some like beef shank and a couple of other things because you need the fat in there. Beef shank is not fatty, but it is tough. So you could grind it up and use it for ground beef. That's fine, but you need to add a fat in there, something like a brisket or oxtail. But oxtail are a pain to get off the bone. Short ribs work really well, but they're pretty pricey too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. There's a lot of things I'm going to be trying to work on over the winter for affordability reasons because I mean, my mom was talking to me the other day about how the prices have gone up, and she really watches that very carefully. And she probably could tell you the prices back to, 1952, really seriously. She probably could. And she was telling me like the price jump in milk and the price jump in certain things. And I'm like, this is, it's getting bad. All right, Annie, let's see. Okay, I tend to bake in my big oven for most part because I'm not good at converting temperatures and times. Is there a rule for that? Well, Annie, that depends on what appliance you're talking about. If you're talking about the Ninja Foodie, it can get a little tricky to bake in the Ninja Foodie, depending on what you're baking. And that is because of the shape of it and the airflow that goes around, and it doesn't really get underneath too well. Now, there's workarounds for it if people are working without an oven or really need to not use the oven for electricity reasons because, some places electricity is through the roof and they would rather use the foodie because it doesn't take as much to heat up, so it doesn't cost as much to run. There is a basic rule, but it's so basic that I hesitate to even tell you. But basically, it's 25 degrees lower because you're going on convection, okay, rather than regular just oven cooking. Now, if it's a regular oven cooking convection recipe, I still go 25 degrees lower. But I take it even a step further and I go lower than that because it's such a small space, right? And you're trying to manage getting everything cooked through, whether you're doing a casserole, whether you're doing a cake, whether you're doing brownies, if you're doing pot and pot, so you have your baked good in a pan and you're using the crisping lid and you're trying to bake in the foodie, you need to manage your temperature so that there's enough time for it to cook all the way through and from the bottom. So I lower my temperature sometimes up to 75 degrees. And then there's this point of, is it really worth it because it's going to take 20 minutes longer or 15 minutes longer to cook? Is it really worth doing in the Ninja Foodie, or is it just something that's better to do in the oven? Now, if you're using a different appliance, then that would be a little different. Like the XL oven works exactly like an oven. You don't really need to make any changes in your temperatures or anything. It is smaller, so it does tend to cook a little bit faster. All right, let's move on. All right, Colleen, I mentioned the other day on one of the pages that it seems like the newer foodie models seem to have a lot of issues, complaints. Have you had issues with the newer models versus the old two lid? I actually canceled my order of the smart lid model after reading so many issues and just happy with my trusty two lid. I have not. I have not encountered any issues whatsoever. Some of the issues could be user error. Some of them are just faulty. I mean, because there's different runs on things, and sometimes a run isn't as good as a previous run. The only major complaint that I've heard consistently is that there are a lot of people saying that the sous vide function does not get up to temperature in the time it says. And mine works though. So what mine usually in my two lid model, it's usually about 10 degrees hotter when it says to add food. So that's fine because by the time I add the food, the temp regulates down and it's perfect and it cooks perfectly. On my two lid model, it's about 5 to 10 degrees lower. But that doesn't really matter because I just let it keep heating for about 5 or 10 more minutes, and then I add the food, and it works perfectly fine. But I've had people say that it's taken up to an hour for their water to heat up to the temperature that they set. And so you just have to be aware of that. But that's the only issue that I've heard, And just to put some context to this, I have a standalone sous vide cooker, and if I fill up a big container of water, like the inner pot, it's going to take a good 15, 20 minutes to get up to the higher temperatures that we sous vide at. Now, if you're really sous videing at a very low temperature, it doesn't take that long, obviously. But if you're going at a higher sous vide temperature, it does take a good amount of time. So I think where the Ninja Foodie kind of misses the mark is it tells you it's preheated preemptively. It does it too soon. It's not fully preheated. So, but other than that, I haven't had any issues and I haven't heard any major issues. So if you have any specific issues that you've heard, just let me know. The other thing that some people have said is that it takes longer to come to pressure. I'm not sure if I've noticed that or not. Like, I've been trying to be aware of that. There are a few recipes that I've done in it because now I'm testing recipes in it and doing them in it. And then I'll throw one batch in the old two model just to make sure there's no issues. But it might take a little longer time to come to pressure, but not that much. Not enough for most things. It's not going to make any difference. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. All right, Raven, what is my favorite dish to make for a Halloween party? Gosh, I don't even know if I've ever gone to a Halloween party where I brought something. I have a recipe for something that's called Almond Bliss cereal mix. So it's like almond joy, and the colors, because it's a dark chocolate and then a little bit of powdered sugar so that you don't get chocolate all over your hands when you eat it. And I looked at the colors today with the almonds and the darkness of it. It kind of looks a little Halloweeny. So that would be an easy one. That's on my website. It's Almond Bliss cereal snack mix, I think is the name of the recipe. But other than that, I guess I would probably make cupcakes. If I was going to go to a Halloween party, I would probably make cupcakes. I wanted to do some Halloween recipes this year, and I didn't have a chance. I need to start testing them back in July, in order to get things right and get them out in time. And I just didn't do it this year. I'm going to have to do it again. I'll have to do it next year. All right. Eddie, do I have a recipe for beef arm roast? That is not a cut that I've really heard. I mean, I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it. I'm not sure. Where do you live? Because I'm curious about that. I can look it up to see what it's similar to. That's not something I've really ever seen here. Beef arm roast. Well, it looks like they use them for chuck roast. Does it have a bone in it? Very interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that. So I would say probably my pot roast recipe would be the closest thing that I have for that. I also just did one, a recipe for, oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. What is it called? beef ossobuco, but I'm not sure if that would work with the beef arm roast or not. I'm not really sure. All right, Richard, how do I cook frozen thighs? Well, this is a great question. It depends on what you want to do with them. So if you are making them from frozen and you want them to be like shreddable, then I would just pressure cook on the rack for about probably from frozen, probably about 20-25 minutes on high. That should cook them fine and also get them to a nice shreddable, consistency. So they're nice and tender, but also shreddable. But if you wanted to air fry them, which is another great way because that skin gets so nice and crunchy. If you have skin on bone in, because you could have skinless, boneless, I'm not sure. But um, I would I would probably, if they were thawed, I would probably go at probably 350 to 375 so that the skin would get crisp by the time the meat was done, managing that with the temperature. But if they're frozen, it's going to take longer for the meat to get done. And you don't want the skin to burn or I can't, in my mind, you can't over crisp, but you can burn. So I would probably go down to 325 at least to start, to give it time to thaw and start to cook. And then you could bump up the heat a little bit. If you want to cook it a different way, you'll have to leave me a message, leave me another message and hopefully I can get to it tonight. Okay, Crystal. Hi, Louise. Just curious, are you going to make any Christmas cookie recipes? Thank you so much for your videos. I love listening to them. Yes, I am. I have a couple of I have a pumpkin biscotti coming out fairly soon. So that's kind of fallish, maybe not Christmassy, but definitely Thanksgiving-y, and it's so good. It's got a cinnamon spice glaze on it that hardens. Like I tried all kinds of things. Like I dipped them in chocolate and did all kinds of things, but this was the absolute best. Oh my gosh, they are so, so good. And then I have an aniseed drop cookie that I probably is not going to be very popular, but it's one of my absolute favorite cookies that my mom always made. And she had a rolling, there's a name for them and I'm just not remembering it. But the dough, it's a very dry kind of dough. It's a very like hard cookie. And she would roll it out with this patterned rolling pin. I'm sure somebody knows what I'm talking about. And they were just so beautiful. Well, I'm going to make them a little bit easier. We're going to do them with a drop cookie. And then they have a really beautiful icing. And then I have Congo bars, which is not really a cookie, but sort of. They're kind of like a blondie. And so instead of a brownie, it's a blondie, but they're so good. And I'm going to do Buckeyes, which is candy. And I'm going to do caramels, which is candy, chocolate covered caramels. If I can find my recipe. I can't find it yet. I called my mom. I said, Mom, where's the caramel recipe? Because we have all these family recipes that I'm trying to get up in it on the blog and everything. And she said, you took it. You took my card because she's very old school. So she has a recipe card box. And when I tell you it's a recipe card box, it's like a filing cabinet. Okay. It's huge. And she has all of these handwritten recipes in there that she's gotten from various cookbooks, but then adapted, to her own. And some I'm sure she created herself. So she gave me the card, the little recipe card. That was something she should have never done because now I can't find it. And I've had it for years. So I have to find that. But yeah, and snickerdoodles is another one. Like I would love to do a whole run of cookies. I love making cookies, but I'm not making them in the Ninja Foodie. I mean, like, I'm not doing that. You can make them in the Ninja Foodie, and I've tested a big cookie in the Ninja Foodie, and I don't know why I don't have that recipe out because it's perfectly fine recipe, but I just don't feel like I've quite gotten it nailed down. So I've been testing that for probably a year and a half. Isn't that ridiculous? What I wanted to do, I'll just tell you this, okay? Because I like telling you guys what I'm doing behind the scenes. So I have a chocolate chip cookie dough recipe that what I was trying to do is make a batch of the chocolate chip cookie dough without the chocolate chips in it. And my chocolate chip cookies have oatmeal in them. And using that same dough, just adding a few spices and splitting it. And this is because of the measurements of, like you can't like break an egg in half very easily. So it was because of that. Break them in two, make one cinnamon oatmeal cookie and one big chocolate chip cookie in the Ninja Foodie. That is what I was working on for the Ninja Foodie. But other cookie recipes, it's just it's just so hard to do in the Ninja Foodie. I mean, you can only make what, 6 maybe, if that? So they'll be in the in either in the XL oven or my regular oven. All right, Marie, have I roasted a whole pumpkin in the Ninja Foodie? Not yet. I bought them last year and I never got around to it. I wanted to pressure cook some to make my own pie. And then I wanted to also roast, but I have not. I do have um I do have butternut squash that I'm doing a butternut squash gnocchi recipe. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So I just pressure cooked some butternut squash. I've done that a lot because I've also par cooked it in the pressure cooker to slice it to do dehydrated butternut squash. Um, so yeah, I have not done that yet. Cooking with Rick. Um, Louise, how did you grow your channel so fast? Okay, we're talking about YouTube channel. I don't know. I have no idea. I showed up. I was myself. I guess I had the right message. People were interested in the Ninja Foodie. I was using the Ninja Foodie, and I don't know. I just have wonderful people in my life that like what I do. It's just been one of those things. I mean, I'm not real strategic about it. I don't have any tricks or anything like that. Um, and I don't know if it is fast. Maybe it is by some standards, but I mean, I've been doing it for 4 years now. But yeah, I don't know. I just have wonderful people out there who subscribe and watch and, hopefully enjoy the videos. Um, Jessica says, I love to cook. I do too. I did too. All right. Nancy says she bought the smart lid and it's still in the box along with a sous vide circulator in the box. Well, get them out of the box. Use them up. Hi, Margaret. How are you? Oh, Rick, I'm a nurse. Relax. I don't have diabetes. I've checked my blood sugar. I'm good. Don't worry. I'm not getting diabetes. All right. Live in Pennsylvania. I lived in Maryland. Oh, you're so sweet. No, it's okay. I get emotional all the time. That's just who I am. But I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys. I mean, I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. Um, Annie, yeah, I know naproxen is an allergy. It's pain relief. Yeah, I think we know that. I think the issue was, did I take it, and was that giving me the issue? Was it a side effect there? All right, Karen. I made the chicken marsala 360 meal this evening, this time using the smart lid. It never came to pressure. Found out that the liquid was gone and the potatoes were burning. Did you have it sealed correctly? That is one thing that I've heard from a few people is because of the way they wrote the lettering on the valve, it says, how does it say? Is it vent? Yeah, vent and then seal with an arrow pointing this way, like you would go all the way over to seal it, and you don't. It sits in the middle to seal. That is the only reason. Well, wait a minute. The potatoes are on the bottom. I see. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to remember off the top of my head all of these recipes, like and how they were made. Um, so I guess the potatoes are on the bottom with liquid. And the liquid was probably very minimal because we were mashing them and I didn't want you to have to drain them. Is this correct? So what could have been the issue is the smart lid, it has more evaporation than the 2 lid models. So that's a little nuance that's with some recipes. If you're using a cup and a half, 2 cups of water, and you're not cooking with absorbing types of foods like pasta and potatoes to a certain extent that, actually absorb the water a little bit, you're not going to have any issues. But when you are cooking those kind of foods, there may be some adjustments. And I'm still learning, that I'm still learning along with you guys about these little nuances. And then I can go back and update my recipe post. So please, this feedback is invaluable to me. Like, I hate the fact that anybody has an issue with one of my recipes ever. I just hate that. but I can learn from it and we can prevent it for so many other people if you let me know. So you can always send me an email, Louise at thesaltedpepper.com. And then I look at the recipe and then I'll be able to get, an idea. Okay. So if it's this type of recipe, I need to tell them if they're using the smart lid, do this. So thank you, Karen. Sorry that you had that issue. I hope you were able to salvage it if they weren't too burnt. Once you burn something, it's really impossible to salvage it because it tastes terrible. Nancy, tonight I cooked your air fryer meatloaf and it is great. I've also cooked your cheesy meatloaf. Both are husband approved. Yay. And if my memory's serving me correctly, your husband is a picky one. So that's a double compliment, right? All right, Victoria, I bought my new Ninja 8-quart foodie. I don't use my oven for dinners anymore. I always use your videos and hubby loves them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hi, James. Thank you so much. Scotland is one place I definitely want to visit. Hi, Charlie. How are you? Okay, Roberta, for your chicken Marsala 360 meal, can you just make more chicken without the veggies in the same time? Yes, I think that would be perfectly fine. Yep, I think that would work fine. Okay. Okay, Karen, that's what I thought. We're back to the pork shoulder. That's what I thought. It was kind of near there and had tough skin. So that just means that it didn't have enough time to break down because it's not really skin, it's connective tissue. So that just means it didn't have enough time to break down, for the heat to get all the way down to that part. So cooking it longer is the key, and probably 15 minutes just wasn't long enough. Hi, Louise from Liverpool, UK. Love your recipes. Thank you very much. The beef leg steaks you did looked gorgeous. We call it shin beef here, but it's always cut into chunks and we don't see it as big pieces like yours. Oh, that's a shame because they are so. She's talking about the beef shank uh, recipe that I did for beef ossobuco just recently. Yeah, that's a shame that they're into chunks, but I would still use it. I would just cut the cooking time down. Like if you wanted to make that recipe with chunks instead of the sliced, steak like thing, I would do it. And I would just cut the cooking time down to like maybe 10, 15 minutes, let's say. Brian says, hi, Louise. Do you have any chili recipes that you recommend that can be used with the Foodie XL pressure cooker? Yes, I have two. I actually have three recipes, but two are specifically pressure cooker. One is chicken curry chili, which I know sounds kind of odd. Well, let me just tell you, it's won a lot of cook-offs. Okay, a lot of barbecue. Not barbecue. A lot of chili cook-offs. In fact, Jeff and I won like a big trip. Not a big trip, but an overnight at a very expensive, exclusive place with that chili. It's really, really good. And then I have a quick chili that's super easy. So I have two recipes on my website. You can just head on over there, type in chili in the search bar. The search works really well, and that is thesaltedpepper.com. All right, Debbie, I have an 8-quart and I find I always need extra water. I just go ahead and start with extra water. Debbie, yeah, I've been working with a friend of mine who tests my recipes for me sometimes. And I use a 6.5 because I'm so short. And she's, I think, as short as me, but she just uses a step stool. She uses the 8-quart. So I've been telling her now to add 2 extra tablespoons if you have the 8-quart. And I need to start writing those into my recipes. If you have the 8-quart, add 2 extra tablespoons. That seems to be enough. Okay. Now it's not going to matter with some recipes if you add more than that, but if you're trying to get a recipe cooked perfectly without any liquid, like rice or pasta or potatoes that you don't want to drain, then 2 tablespoons seems to be the key there. Hey, Sue, how are you? Larry, I want to make a carrot cake. Oh, so do I. I sent you a recipe today. I much prefer to use the 15-in-1 to bake this carrot cake. I really like the steam and bake. I think that's going to be a good option for a carrot cake. I really do. And that I will get on that because I have a wonderful recipe for carrot cake that is, oh my gosh, so fantastic. I made a wedding cake for my friend years and years ago. And one of the layers was this carrot cake and everybody raved about it. It's so good. I will get on that, Larry. Thanks for sending me. I have the recipe though, and I want to make mine because it's so, so good, but I can give you the times and stuff It's not going to be right away, but maybe I can get that done by Christmas. That's kind of, I don't know. Is that a spring thing? I don't know. I was going to make carrot cake whoopie pies because I love carrot cake, but I decided to make pumpkin whoopie pies instead. Yes, Annie, I know. We got to eat more veggie meals. I'm working on some more side dishes and stuff for vegetables and some of that kind of stuff, but they just don't do well for me on my website. Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh, Larry, I'm glad your lemon cake turned out fine. Oh, Sandy, thank you so much. She says, hi, Louise. I love your channel so much. Finally, a channel for all of us regular folks, I think. And that's, well, I'm a regular folk too, you know. All right, Donald, when using the temperature probe on auto, how do you figure timing when dinner will be ready? I ended up having to keep watching the temp. That's a good question because you don't know, do you? Especially if you're cooking it for the first time. I don't use the probe that much. Okay, I still need to work on that. That is not very good. It has potential though. It's not sweet enough. I put in a little bit of swerve for me, but it's still not sweet enough. It's a little, I mean, it's got the good spice, but it's not there. All right. That's a good question. I mean, like I could say, I mean, I could probably know because I wouldn't just kind of know how long it would take to cook, but gosh, I don't know what to tell you because there's so many variables with that. Like, it depends on what you're cooking. So I'm sorry, but I cannot answer that with one easy answer. You just kind of have to watch it, I guess. Now, I don't know how you're watching the temp though. Oh, does it go up on does it show you on the screen? That's how little I use the probe. I thought I would use the probe in the Ninja Foodie to test recipes for that exact reason. So I was going to like reverse engineer it. So I was going to put a probe into the meat, program it for the temperature that I want, and then see how long it took, right? So that I could then reverse it and write a recipe. But the issue that I figured out rather quickly, which makes total sense, is when you're pressure cooking with the probe, now not other functions, but when you're pressure cooking with the probe, you don't want to set the temp for what you want the final temp to be, because you're still going to have, even if you do an immediate release, you're still going to have a lot of carryover cooking during the steam release time. So you have to go way down on your temperature settings. So it's kind of tricky and I haven't done it yet. I need to do like a video on that, just all on how to use the probe in the Ninja Foodie. I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful. Larry, I would not know the setting for carrot cake time and temperature really until I tested it. But my guess would be that I would steam and bake at, it depends on how thick it is. Okay. So there's a lot of variables here, but let's say you're using an 8-inch, you're just doing like one layer and it's an 8-inch by 2-inch pan. And you're going to fill your carrot cake half to 3/4 of the way full tops. I don't even think I'd go 3/4 of the way full, maybe 2/3. And I would probably bake on 325, and I don't know the time, but you can check it. I would at least let it go for 20 minutes and then check it. Okay. That would be, I'm just guessing off the cuff. All right. Randy. Hello, Louise from Vancouver. Are you going to do any recipes with the new Ninja outdoor grill? No, not anytime soon. Cooking with CJ's got some out, and also Grilling Montana has some out. And for us to do outside videos, which isn't, I mean, it is something that I would like to do eventually, but we would have to move a lot of equipment outside to do that. So that's not really something I'm going to focus on. Although my friend is coming at the end of October and she has the smoke fire grill. So who knows, maybe I'll just change my mind, because if it's incredible, then I'll change my mind. But right now, no. Okay. Cooking with Rick says use hot water when you sous vide. No, don't do that unless you, I mean, you can, but you can really screw up the Ninja Foodi, not screw it up, like ruin it, but you just want to use tap water, honestly. Now, with a circulator, depending on the temperature you're setting it at, you can use hot water. It is, I mean, obviously you're probably going to cook it above 104, 105, which is normal tap water. I keep my tap water like at 118 though. Mine's really, really hot. But in the Ninja Foodi, I would not recommend using hot water. I would just use just regular tap water. Good. Mannion says no issues with the smart lid. Okay. Soul Inspirations. What is the temperature of the searing setting? There's 5 temperatures. They go from 1 to 5. So it's, and I think it's 1 to 5 on the smart lids, and they're labeled as low, medium, high, and high, something like that. I don't have the words down exactly, but yeah, there's no temperature, but it's like a stove, all right. Oh, okay. Barbecue with Neil. Hi. Okay. All right. Sandy. I have a problem when I make beef stew in the Ninja Foodi. By the time it's finished, the veggies disappear. Should I put the veggies in at a later time? There's a couple of things you can do, and I have a recipe if you want to look and see how I do it on my website, thesaltedpepper.com. But your veggies are probably too small going in, so the pressure cook time is just overcooking them and they're falling apart. Now, beef stew, I don't know how long you're pressure cooking for, but it probably is longer than you need to, maybe. Really. But I tend to keep my vegetables bigger, and therefore they cook slower and I have better results. But you can put them in later too if you want. So if you're noticing that they're overcooking and you think you can stop it, like maybe when it has about 5 minutes to go, and put your vegetables in, that's fine. Depends on the size that you cut them though, how long, because little cube potatoes you can pressure cook in no time at all, like 2 minutes. All right. Okay. Deanna, hi, welcome. New watcher here. I currently have a 5.5 quart pressure cooker, slow cooker. What would you suggest for a replacement? I definitely want something bigger. Yeah, 5.5 quarts are, I mean, they're nice for side dishes and they're nice for small things, but yeah, I could definitely see where you would want a little bit more clearance. It depends on if you wanted to go with the 6.5 quart or the 8 quart Ninja Foodi. I mean, those are my favorite. It's my favorite appliance of all appliances of all time, because it does what it says it's going to do and it does it well, and all the functions work well. And I've just had no issues. I just absolutely love them. So that would be my recommendation. Whether you get a 6.5 quart or an 8 quart is really personal preference. You have more clearance in an 8 quart. But if you're short, you might have a little bit of difficulty actually like working with it. Okay. Countertop, because it's a little higher. So it really depends. I'm short. So, I use the 6.5 quart mostly. All right. Okay, it'd be nice if somebody wrote a book with recipes that does not use boxed ingredients, especially for baked goods. Well, Dusty, I have a lot of recipes for baked goods on my website. You can print them out. I don't have a cookbook, but I have them on my website, and I don't use boxed ingredients for anything. In fact, I just made chicken and noodles, and I made my own noodles for it. So I really try to make everything that I possibly can from scratch. And I mean, obviously I don't do everything, but I try. Hi, Trisha. How are you? All right. Hope, looking for your cauliflower au gratin recipe. Do I have one? That's a good question. I don't think I have a cauliflower au gratin, but that is a good idea. I'm going to put that on my list for Christmas. I don't think I have one though. I'll have to look on my website. If you go to thesaltedpepper.com, type in cauliflower, and you'll see the cauliflower recipes. Okay, so Linda, we're back to the stuffed peppers. I did try the steam for stuffed peppers, but not seem to be hot enough. So that's when I decided on the steam and bake. Maybe I'm just impatient. At least they were edible. I would like to see how you do them in the smart lid. Yeah, Linda. Okay, so yeah, I would do the steam. Okay, that's going to give you the best results. And I mean, steam bake will work, but it's just a different process. So my recipe was just a steam recipe, so it's just a different process. But you're probably going to have to add a little bit of time with that smart lid. But yeah, I'll have to make the recipe. Oh my gosh, Colleen, I read that first that first part wrong. I was like, whoa. Follow up on smart lid issues. Specific comments. I've read on the Ninja 101 page several saying that they had issues with the slidey thing not working. Others say they've started a function, it just stops part way through. Yeah, I haven't encountered that. I think I did just see the slidey thing. I did see that one just the other day, but that's the first time I've seen that. So I haven't I look for patterns, not one-offs, but patterns. And I haven't seen anything. But I mean, I could have missed it. But personally, I've not had any of those experiences. Let's see. All right. Pfefferness. Somebody is talking about pfefferness, and I missed the comment. Here it is. Pfefferness cookies. I've never heard of those. What are those? I gotta do a little screen grab. I love cookies. How do I do that? I've got to remember this. John, remind me what these cookies are, will you please? Okay, let's see. All right, let's get down here. Let's see. I'm just going to move down to look for some questions. Okay, Dusty says, I'm doing spaghetti squash right now, but it's in the oven as it was large. And I wasn't sure how to bake, steam, or pressure cook it. I have a spaghetti squash recipe on my website for cooking it, for pressure cooking it, to serve it. It's not roasted, but it's pressure cooked. But if it was too big to fit in the foodie, then, the oven's probably the best choice. Okay, Karen, I don't remember what that was about. Once I took the potatoes out and cleaned it. Oh, okay. You checked it I remember the chicken marsala. Once I took the potatoes out and cleaned it, we put the meat and broccoli. And I'm really sorry that happened though, really. All right. Barbara has a question. What was your biggest recipe challenge? I've had a couple. Sweet potato fries. Which seems so ridiculous because it's so easy, but I had a hard time getting those right and getting them crispy. Onion rings was another one that took a while. Mozzarella sticks, I still have not gotten right. There's a couple that I still haven't, that I've been working on forever and I still haven't gotten right. I think that's hard. I can't remember, but there's been plenty of them. And it's usually like some of the simpler stuff. It's kind of weird. All right. I hope you love the meatloaf, Victoria. All right. No, I never had this problem with the two lid. Took the potatoes out and cleaned it. Okay. And okay, good. You were able to salvage the potatoes. That's wonderful. All right. Yeah. The seal is kind of funny. I made the mistake of going all the way up to seal it and not staying with the little indent. Yes, Evan, we're talking about the valve. Yes, that can be a little tricky. Okay, Louise, made overnight breakfast bake using the slow cooker option last weekend. Had to set my slow cooker to 4 hours and set my alarm to wake up at 2 a.m. just to check it and make sure it turned to warm. Then ate it 6 hours later. It was fine. But do I use the yogurt option for the 8-hour version or the ferment? With the yogurt option, it started to boil, made me nervous with the eggs to cook them so fast. Couldn't figure out how to do the 8-hour slow cook. You just need to, when you go to the slow cook, okay, you just need to hit the temperature button down. Now, it depends, Kyle, on what foodie you have. They're a little different. If you want to email me, I can certainly let you know. You just need to email me your model number, and then I can let you know how to do it. But no, you wouldn't go on the yogurt option or the ferment or anything like that. That's not going to work. It's 115 degrees. It's not safe for food safe on the ferment. And if you go on the regular, you're going to boil it, and that's not going to be good either. So we need to figure out how to get you to the 8-hour slow cook. Okay. And I'm happy to do that. So just send me an email, Louise at the Salted Pepper. I'll check them tomorrow, and I can certainly let you know. Just tell me the model that you have, and I can let you know. Okay. Okay, John, I made yeast rolls from the box, cooked at 25% lower. They still came out doughy. Any idea why? Wife said maybe I crowded them too much. Well, maybe, but probably just needed to cook longer. They just were undercooked. That's probably. If the tops were really done, like you couldn't really leave them in any longer, then you need to back your temperature down a little bit more. And that's that little, give and take that I was talking about earlier. Hey, Paul, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, Cooking with Rick. I appreciate you being so helpful, but some of your information is incorrect. So I'd appreciate it if you would refrain from doing that. Karen, I'm going to disagree with Cooking with Rick. Sometimes it does hurt to use extra water and drain off the excess. It depends on the recipe. My recipes are written the exact way they need to be done for the best outcome. So you don't want to just add another cup. It will hurt it. It will ruin your recipe. So please, Cooking with Rick, refrain. Okay. Prestonian Girl. Hi, Louise. I'm wanting to get an air fryer oven. Do you recommend the Ninja oven? I love a few recipes for the oven as it seems to cook a lot faster. Okay. This is the thing about oven air fryers. I have not found one that works as well as a smaller air fryer, whether it's a dedicated air fryer or the Ninja Foodie or the indoor grill or something like that. I've never found one that works as well. Okay. The heating element's a little bit different. The XL oven's a little bit bigger, obviously. And that's the draw. Like, oh, I'm going to go air fry in this. So I wouldn't buy an air fry oven with the idea that you want to air fry a bunch of stuff. I think you'll be disappointed. However, I love, love, love the Ninja XL oven. I love it. Okay. I use it all the time. It is a wonderful dehydrator. It bakes, it roasts, it does everything. And certain things you can air fry, but like things that are going to you want really nice and crispy, like my onion rings, they just were a little too soggy. These are homemade now. I think it does a little bit better with store-bought, but it's just not the best air fryer. Okay. I just want that to be out there clear, but I do love the oven and I highly recommend it. All right, Debbie, I did bell peppers on steam crisp. First effort turned out great, but I did add a couple of minutes of air crisp because I wanted a little more crispiness. First attempt at peppers, and I'm assuming they were a hit. There we go. Oh, look at that. They were a hit. All right, that's perfect. That's wonderful. Okay. Hi, Rena. How are you? I wonder if anyone with a smart lid has a loud crack after a few minutes of warm up. I know it's going to happen, but it scares me every time. One thing now this is something I have heard quite a bit. People saying, is this normal for this loud cracking? And what's happening is the pot's heating up, obviously. And as the pot heats up, metal contracts and constricts and expands and all that stuff when it's under heat, which is why the bottom is a little curved. So that's on purpose. Okay. But I've noticed, like, if I don't dry the bottom of the pan well enough, the pot, I can get some really major cracking. So probably if your pot's really cold, I don't know. I mean, like, let's say you had leftovers in it, you put it in from the refrigerator and it's really cold. You're probably going to hear that more often. But I think it's perfectly normal. I would not worry about it, but yeah, it can scare you, right? It can scare you. Anne Marie, I made your pot roast tonight. Can't wait for a little colder weather for your beef stew. Love it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we're getting there almost. We're getting there. I have the probe on my Ninja grill and never use it. I have a digital read thermometer and I love it and trust it more. Yeah. Nancy, the probes can be off. You got to test them for accuracy to make sure so that you don't ruin your food. You know what I mean? All right. I'm going to keep going down here. Let's see. Oh, John, another good question. So John says, for our new members, when would you use low setting rather than high when pressure cooking? So low is not used very often. I use low for oatmeal, okay, because it's another one of those things that you want to have the exact amount of water. It's pretty quick cooking, and you don't want it to scorch. Okay, it's already hard enough to build the steam to pressure cook it, so going under low helps that. So the difference between low and high is the PSI, and the PSI is what determines the ultimate temperature of that it's cooking at. And I have this on my website, on my pressure cooking article, which is Pressure Cooking 101, on the Salt and Pepper website, where I go into a lot of details. But so I would say, like, I would use low for oatmeal. I've used low for, I'm trying to think what else. I don't have very many recipes for low, but there are times when I would use it. I'm trying to think. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. John, you always put me on the spot. Let's see. What other recipes do I use low? Gosh, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are purposes for it. Maybe some vegetables, although I tend not to pressure cook vegetables. I use a different setting if I'm just making a side of vegetables, but maybe vegetables, that might work. Things that would not do well with high heat. Eggs. So if you wanted to pressure cook some kind of an egg dish, I might go on low because eggs do not do well under really high heat. So yeah, that would be another one. But there's others too. I just can't remember. Okay, Deanna, I am 5'2" myself. I recommend the 6.5 quart if you don't have a very large family. If you are cooking for more than 3 to 4 people, so if you're in the 5, 6 people and and up, and you make a lot of soups, or you make large roasts, not soups, because honestly, you can make 16 cups of soup, which is plenty in the 6.5 quart. But if you're making larger chickens, larger roasts, larger pieces of meat, then the 8 quart would do you better. But for your height, I would choose the 6.5 quart. I think you'll be much happier with it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself kind of on your tippy toes a little bit to get down in there. At least that's how it is for me. And I have a standard height cabinet or a counter that I use. Tammy, very, very good point. Okay, so very good point. Tammy says, I would also add the 8 quart gives you more stacking options. I have a family of 5 and need the 8 quart. Family size and stacking, sell the 8 quart. I agree. I agree with that 100%. You have more clearance. So larger roast and stacking. Yes, totally agree with that. Mannion, sorry if someone already asked, but can we expect a cookbook from you? I have a digital cookbook called Flavors of Fall, which has fall recipes in it. But I want to write a cookbook for the Ninja Foodie. There's some things about it that I have to really fine tune. Like, I don't think I can call it Ninja Foodie Cookbook because I think that violates copyright. So I'd have to figure out what I was going to name it. The best of the salt and pepper. I don't know. Would you guys know that's a Ninja Foodie cookbook? I don't know. And so there's some things. Plus, it takes a lot of time. I mean, so my goal right now is getting out the free recipes on my website, which are not free. I mean, they're free to you, but I know you got to suffer through some ads, just like you do on YouTube. That's what pays me. That's how I can keep doing this full time. Otherwise, I'd never be able to do it. But I want to do one. I've been wanting to do one for 4 years, and I just haven't gotten it done. I also want to do one for the Speedy because I think that's a cool little appliance. But I just have to carve out the time. Right now, I'm doing a lot of organizing and getting my processes streamlined so that I'm more productive and efficient. And that way I can open up more time. I also need to hire somebody to help me do some stuff. So I'm going to be doing that soon. All right, Toby, Ninja Foodie, deep clean fry basket tips. Thank you for your time. Love your positivity. Thank you so much. Okay, so the fry basket. I take the legs off, number one. So there are some people that don't realize that those legs come off. They do come off, and you pop them off by holding 2 adjacent legs. Don't go opposite because you'll crack them. 2 adjacent. Some are on there tighter than others. So some will just pop off and you'll be like, what? This was so easy. And some are like, you got to struggle with it a little bit, but get those off. And then if you have a lot of, I mean, obviously I just use a sponge. I have a scrubby sponge that I love that Colleen sent me. They are so amazing. And that works great. So it's like a non-abrasive kind of scrubby sponge. And then I'm trying to think what else. I use a brush sometimes, but very seldom to get into the grooves if I need to. But I'm going to share this. I've not done this. Okay. I don't know if it works or not, but somebody said it works great. Put your fry basket in your Ninja Foodie, fill it so that it comes above the bottom level, so that it's submerged, like let's say a quarter of the way, so that you're definitely getting the bottom done, and throw in a dishwashing pod and pressure cook. They say it's magic. I haven't done it. So don't hold me responsible for anything about that. I've not done it, but that's what I've heard. I've heard it's magic. Hi, Shelly G. How are you? Okay, let's see. Louise, my son bought me a table that I have my foodie on, very sturdy, and I'm able to sit on my walker and reach it perfectly. It's long, and I prep on it too. That's awesome, Debbie. That's awesome. Yes, Anna's cookies, but there's another name for them, and I cannot remember. And then John's saying they're German Christmas biscuits. Are we talking about the Pfeffernuss or something? I don't even remember now. Anyway, there is an okay, so everybody's liking these Pfeffernuss. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I'm probably not. But I'll have to look into that. But there is another name for these Annis cookies. Okay, there's another name for them. And I want to say they're German, and I don't know if they're, I can't remember. Anyway, okay, Raven, I have a friend who is gluten and dairy free. What would you suggest as a similar dish to spaghetti and breadsticks with Parmesan cheese? Okay, so a lot of people use nutritional yeast for the Parmesan cheese flavor. I haven't used it, but I've heard that it works really well. So that's number one. You can get nutritional yeast, and that's dairy free. I'm certain because it's vegan. So it is dairy free. Okay, spaghetti. Raven, I would make your own spaghetti noodles with gluten-free flour. And I think that we should do that together on some sort of a live or something, because I think that would be incredible. And I just took a cooking class from this gentleman chef in Italy on how to make pasta. So I think we could substitute the regular pasta for gluten-free pasta and make your own. And boy, wouldn't that be a surprise that she or he would be able to have something that was like, so perfect for spaghetti and bread, right? Give them spaghetti and bread. So email me, louise@thesaltedpepper.com, and we can try to get that worked out. And if we can't hook up to do it live, then we can, I can test the recipe with some gluten-free flour and see if it works just the same, because it's so easy to make them. You don't need a pasta maker either. So we're not going to do spaghetti though. We're going to do fettuccine, okay, or a linguine. So we're going to do something a little bit different because it's going to be easier for you to cut, unless you have a pasta maker, and then you can do your spaghetti noodles. That's so much fun. Oh my gosh, this cooking class was awesome. All right, Challenger Wolf. Sorry. What's your favorite dessert on the holidays? Oh, this is funny. Okay, so I like them all. I like apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, chocolate pie, all kinds of cookies. I like pecan cookie. I mean, I like all this stuff. So what I do when I'm entertaining is I don't make a big pie of anything. I make them into either bars or little mini pie poppers, because I want people to be able to say, oh, I'll have one of those and one of those and one of those, instead of just picking a slice of pie that they like. So I like them all. All right, we're back to the popping sound. Okay, we can go there. Let's see. Oh yeah, now cinnamon rolls. I do like those. I have a recipe for cinnamon rolls too. My husband loves cinnamon rolls. Tarts and apple pies. I use the same things. I like Granny Smith for that. And cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever. I have some apple pie recipes on my website, so I can't really remember off the top of my head, but just the basic stuff. And orange zest. I like to add orange zest into my apple pies. All right. How long do I let pumpkin muffins? And how are they made? All right. That's going to be a little too complicated for this, but I have a recipe for pumpkin bread if you want to look that up, and you could easily turn them into muffins and just cook them a little bit less time. But I have that on my website too for pumpkin bread, so you can look that up. Debbie, thank you so much. So I was able to get this one on the screen. I couldn't figure out how to get the other one on the screen. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. All right. And Colleen's chiming in on 100% agree the 8 quart for stacking. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, but the height thing, I find it a problem. All right. I can go there. I'm going to keep going here now. Oh, I made cauliflower au gratin by accident in your never make pot roast again video. Oh, I did. Thank you for telling me that. I will have to go look at that video and see what I did, and then I can get it into a recipe for you. Thanks for telling me that. I hope I remember. If you think about it, could you email me, Louise@thesaltedpepper.com? I can look back sometimes on these chats, but sometimes I can't find what I'm looking for. Lisa, what would be an easy recipe for beginner with a Ninja Foodie? The spaghetti recipe is very easy. It gets you used to pressure cooking, and it is very easy. And you can add twice as much pasta without making any changes. It's very, very foolproof, so to speak. And if I'm working on this, so they're not all like that, but I'm working on actually labeling the recipes, which ones are beginners. If you want air fryer recipes, a lot of them are really easy to do. And if you want to email me, Louise@thesaltedpepper.com, I will send you a bunch of what I think are easy recipes for beginners. Game Challenger Wolf. No, I have not. I know who Cooking with Babish is, but I've never collaborated. And he doesn't know who I am. He's very successful, I think. All right. Love the show. Always learn something new. And at an older age, I'm trying new things. My son does keto and I often make him meals. That's awesome, Debbie. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Okay. Robin says that she puts her fry basket to clean it with the legs pointy side up. Pizzelles. Bionic Joey. I don't think it's pizzelles. I think that's something different. I think that's it. That's it. German Springer roll, which I can't say. Okay. Good to know. Thank you for that. Okay, Nancy, wait a minute. You can pressure cook a dishwasher pod to clean the Ninja parts. Well, it's being done. Let me just say that. I don't know how it works. I haven't tried it, but it's being done. That's what they're doing. And they're saying that it gets the pot really super clean and it cleans the basket and all that kind of stuff. Faith, Italian wedding cookies it's very similar to what I'm doing, Italian wedding cookies, but that's not the name. It's Springer roll, which I know I'm not saying right. So you guys can just laugh at me for that one. Okay, Annie, send me an email too and let them know you want to get in on the gluten-free pasta. So just send me an email, Louise@thesaltedpepper, and if we get enough people, we'll have a little party. And John's saying that pfeffernuss have a little anise in them, so maybe the same. I'll look it up. I'll find out. Oh, pumpkin rolls. I was going to do a recipe for pumpkin rolls, Victoria. They are so good. Hey, Terry, how are you? Hey, Brian. I was just thinking about you the other day. I haven't seen you on Sundays in a long time. And I was just thinking, I hope everything's okay. So maybe you can pop in and on Sunday if you have a chance. All right. Let's see. Hey, Stacia, how are you? Okay, Rachel, I went just on Cozy Meals and I looked at all the different classes, and there was this one by Chef David, and it was $40. It wasn't expensive at all, and it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I think it's called Cozy Meals. Sharon, apparently not. Apparently, well, I don't know about jet balls. Do they all have those jet? Well, it just dissolves though. I don't think so. People say it gets it all the way clean, like it's perfectly clean. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. So it's 8:15. I did go the whole hour and a little over as I usually do. Do you guys have any more questions for me before I bid you a farewell for today? And then I'll be back for Tasty Tuesday next week. And we have something really, really fun planned. So you probably don't want to miss next Tuesday for Tasty Tuesday. In fact, you will not want to miss it. I promise you. If Jeff comes through, it's going to be incredible. So, and he usually does. So I think it's going to be okay. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. If I missed any of your comments, I apologize. I try to go through them, one by one by one, but sometimes I miss them. It is not on purpose. I absolutely promise you. You can always email me, Louise at thesaltedpepper.com. I did not, if I didn't answer your question, if I didn't get to your question, if I didn't answer your question to your satisfaction, you want more information, just send me an email. I try to check them every morning. Sometimes it's every other morning, and I do get back to everybody. So that being said, if you don't get a response within about 72 hours from me for an email, then that means it either went into spam, which I don't check that often because I forget, or I missed it somehow. I mean, sometimes that happens. I get so many emails, but I try to go through all the junk and just get to the important people, which is you guys, and go through that every morning. And then like once a month I deal with the junk, but sometimes I miss it. So, I try real hard though. All right, guys, you have a wonderful night. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Thank you, Juliet, about figuring out the hives. I hope so too. I hope they just go away. Springer Laurel. That didn't help me, did it, Colleen? Colleen's telling me how to pronounce it. Thank you. By the way, I pronounced Springerly. Springerly. You should see me. You should see me do this before a video. If I don't know how to pronounce something, I'm practicing and practicing. Not yet, Deanna. That's I asked Jeff the other day if we filmed it. I can't remember. I think we did film it. So it's in editing right now. So it should be up. It'll definitely be up before Thanksgiving, obviously, because it's one of the Thanksgiving recipes. Thank you so much, Mannion, for joining in. Thank you for being here, everybody. Good night. Good night. Love you, John. Good night. Good night. Good night. All right. I think we're good. We're good. We're good. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.